Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and friends beyond the binary, it's time for the podcaster who's making a dreamy adobo, or I could be just making a regular one, and that's what I said. Well, I gotta go down and record an intro now while it finishes up. And he said, well, which one? I said, well, a dreamy one, perfect for bedtime. Because it's really just consists of me rambling and going on. You know why? Because it's time for Sleep With Me, podcasts that put you to sleep. And if you're a regular listener, like you rely on the show, I really need you to be like, this isn't like something I say in jest. I just need you to pay attention for the next few minutes because these are the ways we keep the show going. All right. Hey, everybody. I was wondering if I could have your attention really quick. If you're a regular listener, if you may have already heard this, the show crossed a couple of big milestones or is in the middle of crossing 800 episodes. And a while back, we crossed 100 million downloads. And those were for free, like not behind a paywall, not as part of some paid service. Over 100 million downloads of people who needed a podcast to put them to sleep for free. You know, people struggling, like, you know how it feels to struggle in the deep, dark night, right? I mean, that's why I make the show. And all that was possible because of you and listeners like you that took action to support the show. It wouldn't have been possible on my own. You went out of your way, you know, in the morning or at night and said, I'm going to support the show. I'm going to support a sponsor. I'm going to spread the word. And I'm going to keep the show free for everybody. And I'm going to make sure it's there when I need it too. Like, you really took those extra steps. You went out of your way and sacrificed for the show, particularly the patrons. And in some sense, you loudly spoke. You said something like, Sleep With Me is valuable to me, and that I want to support it, not just for me, but for thousands and thousands of other people. So think about that. Think about the comfort you have enabled, empowered for other people. That's really, it's countercultural. It's loving. It's kind, and it's wonderful. And I'm really proud of all of you because, like I said, I wouldn't have got here without all of your support, the emails, the spreading of the word, and then making sure we could do it for free instead of as part of like a paid service. And those of you that take action are the ones that enable us to do that. And if you're not in a position to do so, that's totally fine too. But those of you that have said, wait a second, like, I don't know what I've been waiting for. You're right, Scoots. Think about doing it before September 15th, because we're going to do something really fun on Patreon. And whether you're a former patron or a current patron, or you become one by September 15th, you'll get in on this. It's just going to be something fun and symbolic to celebrate all of the people that made it possible for the show to get to this point. And if you support the show by spreading the word or supporting sponsors, you'll be able to participate too. Just keep your ears out. Please think about it. That's all I'm asking. sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. And we've been getting on with the show because of you. All right. It's time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone. And I wanted to thank Anna, who supported Green Chef, signed up, got $25 off her first 3 boxes by going to greenchef.us/sleep75. Thank you, Anna. I'm still enjoying, I just remade some Cuban fried quinoa with pork based on a Green Chef recipe from a few months ago. It was so delicious. And plus I love saying quinoa, even if it's not correct. So if you support a sponsor, or you're wondering what sponsors are, sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors. Let me know, and hopefully I can get you some thanks on the Sleepy Supporter Zone, which is now over. Oh, Mystery Bart, a lot of people help out on this show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes too. Carl W. the Legend also edits episodes. Kenny, Scotty, and Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support, dear Scooter, on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at Sleep With
Thanks, Mr. Bard. I'm at Dear Scooter on Twitter and Instagram. And make sure, you know, it's a huge way to help the show. Just spread the word wherever you are in your natural interpersonal communities online. Just do it organically. When sleep comes up, say, hey, listen to the Sleep Podcast. Or you could just share right out of your podcast app, right in the episode. You just hit that share button, share it on Twitter, share it, and tag me so I can say thanks. All right, what do you say we get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is to create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake. So whether it's thoughts, you know, things you're thinking about, or your mind's thinking about and trying to get your attention about, physical feelings, you know, anything you're experiencing physically or feeling emotionally that might be coming up. I'm going to try to take your mind off of that. What I'm going to do is I got this real nice, safe place set aside here where you can set aside whatever's keeping you awake, like I said. Then what I'll do is send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'm going to use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, superfluous tangents. Holy cow. You say, I've never seen superfluous tangents for one. But I've never seen you have your superfluous tangents. They they're different than the normal. You say they have a low viscosity. They're super fluidity, but a low viscosity. How do you do it, Scoots? And I say, well, I use a slow stirring motion, very slow. I scrape the sides, kind of like a. Yeah, that's what I do. That's one of the ways I do it. Creaky dulcet tones, pointless meanders. So basically what the podcast is here for, if you're new, hi, how you doing? I'm glad you're here. I hope I can help this. Now, this podcast, I'll give you a heads up, it doesn't work for everybody. But give it a few tries. I hope it can. I hope it can help. I hope it works for you. The reason I make this show is because I have trouble falling asleep. Sometimes, you know, I deal with the other stuff, waking up, you know, trip stuff, traveling stuff, you know, thoughts, feelings, physical sensations. I got all those things going. And I just make this podcast to kind of take your mind off of that. So if you're new, let me give you a couple of things of what to expect. Podcast is, I usually say it's a little bit different, but that's a mild way of saying it's pretty different than a normal podcast or even a normal sleep, like something like geared towards sleep. It's really like a company, like you say, a company company that's kept, but you don't need to keep. I think maybe I should seal that one up. I don't think I've said that. Sleep with me. It's like company that's kept that you don't need to keep. You say, Scooch, what do you mean? Well, let me try to explain that to you. Let me get to the new listener, though. So the podcast's a little bit different. Structurally, what to expect is show starts off with a few minutes of business. That's how we keep the podcast free. So in this example, it would be like if the company shows up, you say, I want to greet you, right? Well, I guess like, no, that's different. It's just what we're able to keep the podcast free. You say, well, that's how we keep the porch lights on. And that's how I have these, you know, the place to greet you, you know, is the people that support the show and support the sponsors. So that's not so much important for new listeners as regular listeners. So it starts off with business. Then there's the intro, which kind of you might get to the point of a company that's kept it. You don't need to keep it right away because the intro is kind of a show within a show. For a lot of people, it's part of their bedtime. I call it the bed down, wind down routine. But as you get into bed, I think a lot of things that don't necessarily work make you feel like, hey, this is going to be quick. I'm going to snap my fingers. I'm going to count to 10. I'm going to jingle some wind chimes and I'm going to go, ooh, Scooby-Doo. And then you're going to be asleep. And I've been doing this a long time. That's how I got these creaky dulcet tones. At one point, my meanders used to have a point, but, dulled off. But so what was my, what was my point? The intro is, it's to ease you into bedtime. So if you're not interested in the intro, you just want to get to the part of the show where tonight we'll be talking about Doctor Who, just skip to about 18 or 20 minutes or so. And so there's the intro is like where I talk about the podcast for about 12 minutes and ramble in kind of a monologue type fashion, as we like to say around here, these parts, heavy on the log to have you sawing logs. It's more of just like a friendly banter, just like if you were greeting guests at the house. But here's the good thing. This podcast, that's where it all ends. You don't got to greet me because you just hit play. Now you can say, oh, there's Scoots rambling, but I won't be able to hear you. Even if your partner says, is that pod kid talking nonsense? And then you might say, he's a pod man, dear, without a doubt. And then you can both have a laugh at that. And I wouldn't hear any of that. Just you go ahead, crack yourselves up. You say pod kid, he's more like he's a pod tween. And I'd say, well, that pretty much sums me up. And so, what was my point? So the intro is kind of like a familiar friend that you don't have to entertain or that you can talk about in a jestful way or just wonder about. You say, what's going on with Scoots tonight? I'm not sure. I'm only kind of listening. Well, didn't he just start talking? Well, yeah, but I'm kind of conditioned to just barely listen. That's one of the other things around the show. This is one of the few podcasts you don't need to listen to. You could just kind of be around it. So it's like where the company is kept. You say, well, Scoots is kind of keeping me company, but I don't have to keep him. I don't have to. It's a weird social. It's not a It's a social dynamic without the dynamic parts. You say there's no however you say that there's no dynamics here. Like I said, this is super fluidity at a high viscosity. Oh, no, maybe it's a low viscosity. You're right. Thank you. I totally mixed up my mixed up metaphors. So the intro is a way to introduce you to the show and ease you into bedtime and just kind of goof around. Maybe make bedtime a little bit less serious. Maybe like, take a little bit of the grouchy poos out of bedtime. Because I know for me, I haven't talked about my brain bots, but a lot of times my brain bots, it is like a bunch of guests showing up. As soon as my head hits the pillow, all of these little unifunction parts of my personality start, I hate to use this word, carping. They say, hey, Drew, how come this? Did you realize our efficiency? We didn't even track our efficiency today. How inefficient is that? And I'd say, okay. And then the sixth grade part of me would say, how come were you the last person in your class ever to kiss a girl? And I'd say, well, I didn't kiss a girl in sixth grade. So technically, no. And then my second and eighth grade saying, so point of order. And I'd say, okay, like I'm trying to go to bed here, actually. And then another part of me would be like, what month is it? When is April 15th? Oh my goodness. And then, there's different parts of us, and they want my attention really like a guest would. And for me, at least, it's really hard to say, hey, listen, I mean, I guess as I've done the podcast, I have learned to say, hey, probably not the best time to discuss this stuff right now. I'm just going to listen to this podcast, but this podcast, let's all and you could snuggle up with them and you say, hey, let's get snuggled here. Scoots is our guest that we don't have to entertain, and he barely entertains us. He doesn't know the difference between high and low viscosity, despite consuming over his lifetime 4,000 hours of motor oil commercials. And And my efficiency brain would say, "What? Actually, that's actually, holy cow, that's completely accurate." How come that doesn't happen? Like you say, okay, when I'm moving on to the next phase of existence, they'd say, well, let's see, you tried to do this, let's see, I would like that rundown. You see, are you gonna, can we have like a stats component, or can I get a couple infographics, and instead of the whole Peter thing or whatever, or the limbo, or could we just run through, for maybe 20 years? Because you have all the data up there, I'm assuming. You say, well, let's run through some info. How many hours of motor oil commercials have I consumed? I'd like to see the top 30. I would be interested in that. You say, okay, breakfast cereal's got to be way, way up there. But motor oil, I would put it in the top. I mean, you say, how come that's not an SAT word? And they'd say, well, it's overused. That's why. Viscosity. I mean, it's probably hard to spell. So maybe they say, yeah, we can't use it in the spelling bee because it's a word that every child's seen. Most children, not every, some children aren't watching every single thing. I guess they don't have, here's the thing. If you're a motor oil company, free advice. Actually, I probably have seen, freaking ads from you too. But now that I've talked about you, clearly, next time I do a search to be like, have you thought about Vervaline? It's mid viscosity. It's the only mid viscosity motor oil. It's hypersynthetic. And I'd say, interesting. You've been listening in to me, eh? So what was I saying? Oh, you don't need to listen to me. Also, no pressure to fall asleep. The reason the shows are about an hour is because I want you to have plenty of time to ease into and drift off at your leisure. Just like a guest, I'd say, hey, well, I'll be here talking. Don't worry about keeping me company. I'm here to keep, my company's kept. The company that's kept that you don't need to keep, right? Is that what I said? Like, I'm keeping you company. You're not keeping me company. So I'm just going to be here talking. And that's the other thing is if you can't fall asleep, I'm going to be here for about an hour. So if you can't sleep, you're going to queue up episode after episode. I'm here to the very end. I make this show because I truly believe you do deserve a good night's sleep, a good night's rest, some moments of comfort and solitude. And if I can enable that somehow, this is an honor. It's something that's powerful. And if I can have a connection to that, just rambling and then talking about Doctor Who later. And you might say, Scoots, I don't watch Doctor Who. And I say, okay, don't worry. You won't recognize it. You'd say, was that a story, an avant-garde story about pencils? No, that was, Scoots was talking about, it says Doctor Who in the title, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I say, yeah, that's right. I'm just talking Doctor Who, but in a meandering, lulling, soothing way. And I think that's about it. You don't need to listen to me. No pressure to fall asleep. The shows are about an hour. Starts off with the intro. Then there's, the business intro, business, Doctor Who for about 45, 50 minutes, and some thank yous at the end. And that's it. And give the show a few tries. 99.9% of listeners said it took a few tries before it started working for them. But what I really want you to know is I'm glad you're here, and I work very hard. I strive and I yearn, and I really want to help you fall asleep. Thanks again for coming by. And here's a couple of ways we keep the show going. Hey, everybody, I don't know if you've checked out our merch store lately, but as we're staying in the warm season for a little while here, we've got those really cool Bella Flowy tanks in all sizes and two different prints, the Sleepy Sheep and the Sleep With Me logo. We've got new things on the horizon. Just go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/store to check out all of our merch. Don't forget about our custom sleep phones, sleep spray, and our sleepy pants. Nothing goes better in bed than the Bella Flowy tank tops and the sleep pants. So check it all out. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/store. Get your merch on and share it with me. Thank you so much, everybody. All right, everybody. We're talking season 2, episode 14 or 13, depending on how you're counting, is uh, uh, Free Comic Book Day. I think that's what it would be called, but in an ironic way, or not an ironic way, like Free Comic Books Day. Episode also had an alternate title when it came out, and it's part 2 of last week's episode. And it is an episode where not only is I guess it is unlucky, it's not unlucky 13, but we do. This is Rose Tyler's. I don't know if it's a swan song. She has another Khaleesi moment to start the episode out, where she does kind of like her hair's blowing in the wind. She's staring and she's talking in a Khaleesi. There's like the recap of the episode, then hers talking like a Khaleesi. And then, let's see, like, yeah, and she says it's like a seaside shots. And so that's how the episode like opens, believe it or not, instead of closing. Rose actually standing in a rock. And then it opens, and we have Daleks. They're talking about getting ready. You know, they say we're back. You know, the one thing that that leads to people becoming Time Lords is comic books. And that's what we got to put a stop to. And Rose calls them out. She says, "You're Daleks. Scoots used to call you Daleks, but you're Daleks." And she does this very dramatic removal of her lab coat. Very worth watching. Let's see, something to cope time war you want to know. 5 satyrs of Genesis arc, status of Genesis arc. But Rose says, yeah, I know your names. Think about that. How does a human know about Daleks and Time Wars? So, you know, I'm going to be useful. Same with my friends Mickey and Raj. And they say, like, what's to say it's the Genesis arc? They say it's hibernating, but let's wake it up. But keep an eye on it. And Mickey says, Daleks? I thought they were all gone. Let's see, what do we got? Climbing music, Jack starts. Oh, chanting music, Jackie and the doctor. I'll get you out, both of you out, the doctor says to Jackie. She says, where's Rose? And the doctor says, I promise, I'll get you both out. Speech all global wavelengths. Oh, so then a cyber person gives a speech. First, he wants everybody, Yvonne says, everybody should give up you know, we want a total authority. And she goes, that's not how it works. And then the cyber leader goes, okay, I'll tell everybody, for all humankind, I'll do a broadcast to everybody. What about the people that don't watch broadcasts, that watch narrowcasts or no casts, you know? Cyber is in charge. You will all become like us. Doctor is watching with 3D glasses. We see a view of London. They say, are you going to surrender or what? The doctor goes, they're not taking instructions. You know, this is London in the Earth. Then the Dalek, the one with the black space gray Dalek, I guess you'd call it, says, which one of you is least important? It says, Raj says, well, I'm the one in charge of the lab, so I don't know if that makes me the least important, but, you know, I guess I'm the one in charge. So it says, Niels, we're going to check your brain waves for stuff. And so they say, okay, he goes, I'm not going to tell you anything. They go, oh, we're going to scan you. It doesn't matter. Meanwhile, then back at with the cyber persons, they say, hey, we're detecting some activity, unknown technology in the sphere chamber. Delta investigate, I obey. Or they say, you know, get investigating, and they say, we obey. You know, Unit 1065 and 1066. I obey. Vinyl land to laptop. They say establish a visual link, which some reason goes to a laptop. So I put WTF. Then we get a little comedy because we're back at the Sphere Laboratory, and they say when we read Raj's brainwaves, we read that there's another species of Earth that said they were big farmers. And the Dalek says, Dalek Thay, go check it out. And he says, I obey. And then the cyber, that's when we have these two visual links, because then the Daleks are also watching. And Thay says, identify yourselves. And the cyber people say, you identify first. And then the Dalek says, state your identity. And then they go back and forth. And Mickey makes some joke. Then the cyber person says, you're being illogical, modify. And the Daleks say, we don't take orders. And then they say, okay, well, at least you named yourself Dalek, so that's good. Then at the back at the lab, they say, well, these are cyber people. We've identified them by their, we could tell they're inferior. Let's see, identify. Doctor grabs Jackie's phone, calls Rose, says her phone's still working, or she answered. Rose, the doctor hears about the Genesis Ark, puts the glasses on, and the cyber says, by the way, we followed your sphere in here. And they say, these are worldwide, these cyber people, the Daleks say that, and they say, the cyber person says, they don't know what they're talking about. These cyber people don't know what they're getting themselves into. They say, your design is inelegant. And the Dalek says, it's just so worth it hearing the Daleks talk. I could listen to them talk all day long until, it would get on my nerves. So they say, Daleks have no concept of elegance just because they're always taking it up a notch. Like, they could literally run, nowadays, they'd say, those Daleks, people really get behind them. They say, then the cyber person says, hey, what about we team up where we could be compatible, Cybermen plus Daleks. Together we could upgrade the universe. And the Daleks say, you propose an alliance? And they say, denied. And then they have, like a little showdown, because the Daleks say, we only want to get rid of the comic books. We don't want to upgrade anything. We're downgrading. Let's see. No concept plus Daleks. Your proposal lines request denied. I think I put pest control we. I don't know what that means. But they have this showdown. Oh, they say, yeah, this is pest control Daleks. They say $4 versus 5 million cyber people. And they say, well, you're going to really take out all cyber people with $4? And they go, we could do it with one. And there's even more jokes. And then, let's see, even more jokes. It's funny. Mickey is mugging after the Daleks. Because then the Daleks happen to catch the doctor. They do a rewind. And Mickey likes that. They say, wait a second, go back. Female's heartbeat increases. And Mickey goes, yeah, tell me about it. And Rose goes, that's the doctor. And she goes, oh, 5 million Cybermen don't bother you, but one doctor. And then the cyber people say, let's upgrade some people. The Daleks concentrated on Genesis. Oh, so they're like, yeah, let's get this Genesis thing going. Yeah, they also know that the doctor knows something about the Daleks. Jackie does. And they split them up. They say, concentrate on the Genesis. Mickey goes, Rose, what's going on with the two of us? Why aren't they bugging us? And then Jackie and Yvonne go to get upgraded. Yvonne gets upgraded. She says, I did my duty for Queen and Country. Jackie says, Yvonne, you really messed up England. So that was a bit of a showdown. Dalek, Sketch, Mickey, why do they need us? Jackie yells at Torchwood, I did my duty. You protect, you are proof emotions are no good. Somebody said, I think that's what the cyber leader says to the doctor. And doctor goes, well, okay, well, I quite like hope. A good emotion, hope is. And then the doctor knows what is coming because Team Boy Band shows up with Jake and the hair gels. I think that's the name of Jake's crew. And Jake rescues the doctor. Remember Jake from like 4 or 5 episodes ago, Mickey's partner, and with Pete, alternative universe Pete. But Jackie somehow sneaks off during this confusion because they said we got a new cyber leader. Which I said, well, these cyber people, they're worthless, except for their armor. Jackie snuck off. And Jake sends everybody off. And then Doctor says, you can't be jumping around from alternative universe to alternative universe. They have these like big cheap plastic buttons they use. And Jake goes, come with me. You got to go check out our own version of Torchwood. And then they go to this parallel world. The things are a little bit more messy and less like he goes, yeah, this is where the People's Republic runs it. And then Pete shows up. That was Jake, I meant. And Pete goes, now I know who you are, Doctor. And he goes, well, I got to get back there. Pete goes, I'm in charge in this world. You're going to listen up. Plastic buttons, Torchwood parallel. Pete shows up. I got to get back. Gonna listen. Also, Mickey has one of these cheap plastic buttons, but he goes, I can't transport without you. And Rose goes, how come you keep showing up? He goes, I don't know. She goes, you're the bravest man I ever met. And he goes, really? And she goes, well, human. Now, the doctor's more brave, which I don't know if that was necessary. I guess because it's I guess it is necessary for the story of the episode. But let's see. Bravest human, Rose, Flash, to human touch. They need a human touch to wake up the Daleks. I think it's because we sucked up a bunch of Time Lord power or time travel power. But meanwhile, they're talking. The Daleks just listening in because Rose goes, I don't even know where this thing came or what it does. And Mickey goes, well, how come they can't open it? And the Dalek says, we took it. It's a Time Lord design. It's all that's left. And Rose goes, what's inside? It says the future. Future's inside. Doctor's listening to the walls back at parallel Pete land as the cyber recoup goes on. Is the they go cyber recap. Oh, yeah, Pete gives, some exposition about the cyber people and from their world. And he goes, yeah, even Mickey. And Pete goes, oh, where's old Mickey? Or Doctor goes, where's old Mickey boy? And he goes, he's helping, any chance to see Rose. And he goes, she's your daughter. And he goes, well, that's complicated, dude. Yeah, Pete goes, by the way, this is a golden age here in London. Harry Jones is running things. Doctor goes, oof. And he goes, yeah, there's something going on, though. And the doctor goes, yeah, it's a breach. You shouldn't be time traveling between parallel worlds. It's not even time travel. And all of you are going back and forth. It's void energy. And he goes, can you seal the breach, Doctor? And he goes, it could, but then there'd be 5 million cyber people on the world I'm at. Pete goes, I'm not worried about that. And the doctor goes, well, what about Jackie Tyler? And he goes, no. And the doctor goes, really? And Pete goes, Doctor, you got to help us. He goes, yeah, close the breach, stop the Cybermen, defeat the Daleks. Do you think I can do all that? And the doctor, Pete goes, yep. And the doctor goes, then let's do it. I just loved how he said, oh, Mickey boy. He says it in a funny way. Off we go. Phone call. He calls Jackie via landline, and she starts talking. The doctor goes, shh, shh, shh. She goes, I'm on staircase N3. And doctor goes, okay, I gotta go. And he goes, okay, North Staircase 3. We'll see in a little bit. And then the doctor says, Jacqueline Andrea Suzette Tyler, dude. That was your wife. I was at the wedding. Then the doctor comes around the corner waving a white flag, surrenders to the cyber people. He goes, I surrender unto you. Then the Daleks are in the final stage of awakening. And Rose kind of brags. She goes, oh, by the way, I took down your emperor. Emperor was doing great till I took the time vortex and sent him in there. You got that, Daleks? And the Daleks doesn't like that. Then we see the doctor in his 3D glasses. Let's see. The doctor rolls in there with his 3D glasses, which didn't really explain. I didn't see, like, there's a part missing, I guess, because he goes to the cyber people, but whatever. He pulls out a sonic probe. He says, hey, everybody. They go, you're the doctor. He goes, yep. Powerless. The doctor goes, me? Nah. And then Rose and doctor say, oh, hey. And then it says, Mickey, good to see you. Mickey says, yep. And the dog says, social time will cease. And they said, well, how'd you get out of Time War, doctor? He goes, I was at Fall of Arcadia. He goes, it was tough, but you four ran away. They go, yeah, we had to. He goes, you're the last 4 Daleks in existence. Wrong, but he goes, what's so special? And Rose goes, they have names. Do Daleks have names? And one says, I'm Thay, Sek, Jast, and Khan. And Doctor goes, oh, the cult of Skaro, a secret order of Daleks to kind of become more, to empathize. And Mickey goes, this is some sort of Time Lord ship, yo. And the Doctor goes, really? Never seen it. And he goes, well, there's secrets all around. And the Dalek goes, good news, Time Lord science will restore Dalek supremacy. And the Doctor goes, what do you mean? And Rose goes, one touch from a Time Lord traveler will wake it up. Somewhere very good. Then the Doctor pulls out the sonic screwdriver because they see you got nothing. They go, probe. The Doctor goes, no screwdriver. Because it doesn't do much but open doors. And then Jake and the hair gels bust in. Then there's a bit of a showdown. Mickey accidentally slips and touches the arc, which activates it. Daleks are Emperor Genesis Pixel needs. Let me check this. The cyber people are not very tough against the Daleks. They're trying to, let's see. Then everybody runs out. The Genesis Arc is primed. It needs 13 square miles. So they roll out. Everyone runs. Jackie, present. Jackie pretzeled by Pete WTF. What does that mean? Jackie. So Jackie's running. And they say, we're going to upgrade you. And then Pete saves her. He goes, hello, Jax. She goes, that's what? And Doctor goes, parallel worlds, Jackie. Try to have your mind just instantly absorb it while I explain to you. Parallels Pete for parallel existence. And Jackie goes, shush it. And she goes, you look pretty old. Pete goes, you don't. And they go, wait a second. And then, it was like, Pete's like, you raised Rose. She goes, I didn't do much. Always been single. Because same here, but in my world it worked out. I'm rich. And Jake goes, I don't care how rich. He goes, very. She goes, I don't care how very. And they go, well, this isn't the right thing to do. But then they, of course, kiss or hug. And then, let's see, take the lift. Where's that? I think I'm ahead. Fun looks for cast. So all the cast, while this is happening, there's lots of cast reaction shots that are really good. Big hug, love. Then there's a big showdown between cyber people, Torchwood employees, and Daleks. All units to Torchwood. They're trying to work through a Genesis arc outside. Cyber people are marching. Doctor grabs the giant magnets. He looks back with 3D glasses. Then the Daleks open up a roof mechanism. Time Lord Scarif take the lift. I don't know what that Time Lord, Time Lord Science, the doctor says. What is Time Lord Science? What do you mean by that? Then the Genesis arc opens. They see it's bigger on the inside. That's the trick of it. And they say, oh boy, this isn't good. Because millions of Daleks start coming out as it spins around. And he goes, oh, that was where they were keeping them. Like in, what is that, Superman 3 or 2? Look at how many Daleks in there. Millions, probably. Well, all of them. The Cybermen caught, I guess. Then the Daleks and the Cyber people kind of go to try to shut down the comic book shops, take the lift, and then Pete goes, "Jeez, this doesn't look good. We got to get out of here. This just isn't going to work. I'm ready. Very hippie. What does that mean, Drew? So good. Pete goes, this isn't good. We got to get out of this world. We'll head back to our world. And make the most of it there. Jackie Rose, you'll come with us, huh? And Jackie goes, no. And Pete goes, come on, it's not London. There's cyber people and Daleks everywhere now. And the doctor will close the breach. And the doctor's actually happy. He's got the 3D glasses on. Oh, very happy. That's what it was. He goes, I'm ready. I got all the equipment I need. Part of P. Rose puts on 3D glasses. So Rose goes, well, we can't just go. And the doctor goes, don't worry. Part of the problem, part of the solution. And the doctor goes, isn't anyone, they have a cute moment, him and Rose. She goes, doctor, is anyone going to ask with the glasses? Rose goes, what's with the glasses? And the doctor goes, I can see. He goes, everything's got void time travel energy. She puts them on. And then it says a reboot in 3 minutes. The doctor and Rose start to do teamwork. Mickey's impressed. He goes, see, I told you. The doctor, he says that to Jake. The doctor's cool dude, huh? He goes, I'll just open the void and that'll suck him in like magnetic energy. Close the void. They go, what's the void? Yeah, a place to keep everybody. Don't worry about it. It'll be closed off from 2 worlds. They go, okay, 2 back. The doctor goes, we'll call it Pete's world, that world. Everybody will be safe there. And kaput, he says, the void will close itself. And Rose goes, you'll be on the other side. Or make you go, so won't you get pulled in? He goes, hadn't you seen that episode of Next Generation? He goes, I'll just hang on to this magnetic clamp. He goes, I'll hold on tight. Been doing it my whole life. And Rose goes, you want me to go with them? And he goes, yeah. And she goes, that's it. This is how you're going to break up with me. And the doctor goes, yep. And save the world. Kind of convenient, a little awkward. And Pete goes, we got to go now. Rose goes, I'm not going. Jackie says, I'm not going without Rose. Pete goes, we're going. And she goes, I'm not Jackie says, I'm not going out with Rose. Rose goes, Mom, go without me. Jackie goes, no way. And the computer says, 1 minute. Rose goes, Mom, I lived with you for 19 years, but my time with the doctor, I've seen everything. I've seen him do it for me, for you, for all of us, for the whole planet, every planet. He does it alone, Mom. But not anymore because he's got me. But then the doctor sends Rose back with everybody. Jakey not happy, Cyberman on retreat. Oh, at some point, did I miss that part or it hasn't come yet? I don't think it came yet. Maybe it did. Then the cyber people almost get in the room, but then Yvonne, as a cyber person, says, "You shall not pass," just like Gandalf. And she says she has oil tears as she says she does her duty. She protects the lab from the cyber people. Leaves optimal. I don't know what that means. Oh, levers operational. I think I'm a little ahead of myself. So Rose goes back into the Parrot Pete's world, yeah, but then she goes right back. And then Jackie says, I got to go back. And Pete goes, no way. He takes everybody's plastic buttons. He goes, everybody's staying here. It's an order. And Jackie goes, Mickey. And everybody says, no, we're using up too much parallel energy. And then Rose is back. Dad goes, you're not going to be able to see your mom. And she goes, I made my choice a long time ago. I'm not leaving you. So what can I do to help? And Doctor goes, set the coordinates in the computer. Jackie's not happy in the other world. This is when Yvonne protects them. And then they say everything's operational. Hope and Glory, Mutt and Jeff shiver and shake, the doctor says. Rose goes, who's shiver? Doctor goes, I'm shake. Then they seal their electromagnets, press their buttons, open the breach. Electromagnets, Daleks are coming. Then everyone goes in the void, except for one Dalek, the space gray one, Dalek energy. He does a temporal shift. I don't know what that last word is, except for one Dalek, emergency temporal shift. Then one of levers jams, so Rose tries to fix it. The doctor watches, there's like action music. It's kind of like a bike grip. Rose can't hold on. She slips. Pete rescues her. Right as the void closes, and everyone goes through it. The doctor kind of says, Rose, no. Because at first he didn't realize that Pete was going to save her, maybe. And so I'm sure they recorded like multiple versions of this or maybe really debated it. But I think this was probably the best way for them to end it. So Pete saves Rose back to the parallel world, but the void's closed, so the buttons won't work anymore. So Rose is in Pete's world. Pete reserve system closed. A bridge is closed. There's chanting music. The doctor touches his wall, puts his face to it, stares blankly. Rose is on the other side against the wall, missing the doctor. The doctor's fingertips are on the wall. Yeah, kind of saying goodbye. He walks off with his hands in his pockets. Then it ends like kind of like the doctor walks off. Systems closed. The Rose isn't happy, but she says goodbye to the doctor. And then the next thing you know, we see we hear someone call Rose, like a whisper on the wind. Then we see Rose in bed, sleeping. Then she wakes up. She's got polka dot PJs on, like kind of silk pajamas. And then she gets up. She calls them mom and dad, or mom and dad, and Mickey by the fireside. And Rose kind of says, I had a dream, Rose, is the doctor calling her. Heard a voice called my name. Told Dad, Mickey, and Jack, your mom and dad and Mickey, they listen to the dream. This is very Khaleesi, like a meditative, wise, distant Rose. And it kind of like almost like a poetry. And then we packed up into Dad's old Jeep and we head off, just like the dream said. Followed the voice across the water, kept on driving for hundreds and hundreds of miles because he's calling Rose. And they show all that, them driving. And then they're at a beach. And Rose is walking down the beach alone. Pete, Jackie, and Mickey are kind of standing there. And then it's back to like where she was at the beginning. This is a story of how I didn't work for the doctor anymore. And Rose goes, where are you? And then we see like a holographic version of the doctor. He goes in the TARDIS. one gap of the universe left, about to close. It takes a lot of power to send this. I'm using a supernova, burning up a sun to say goodbye. And then the doctor like uses his screwdriver to make himself more solid, but he says, "You can't touch me. It would mess everything up." And he goes, "Where are we?" "In Norway." He says, "Norway, perfect." And then she says, "Darlig Ulfstraden, Dalig." And the doctor says, "Dalek?" And she goes, "Dude, would you believe this is Bad Wolf Bay? Can you believe that?" And he goes, "Oh, perfect." He goes, "I get about 2 minutes." This is really good writing and acting, I thought. She goes, "I don't even know what to say." And the doctor goes, "We got Mickey." And Rose goes, "Well, there's 5 of us now, Mom, Dad, Mickey, and the baby." And there's just enough of a pause here. That's not too long to be like, did Doctor, like Rose and Mickey, Rose and the doctor? Yeah, but then they say, "No, Mom's 3 months, more Tyler's." And then the doctor says, "What about you?" And she goes, "I'm working back in the shop." And the doctor goes, "Oh, that's good." And she goes, "Dude, no, I work at Torchwood, since I know a few thing or two." And he goes, "Rose Tyler, defender of Earth, gets back in our world, your venture." He goes, "Here you are with living a life day after day, the one adventure I can never have." And he goes, she goes, "Am I see you again?" He goes, "No." And she goes, "What are you going to do?" He goes, "TARDIS, the last of the Time Lords." And then she says, "On your own, forever, from this point forward, 100% is alone, single, only platonic relationships." And she says, "I love you." And the doctor goes, "Quite right, too. And I suppose if there's one chance to say it, Rose Tyler." And then he doesn't, he vanishes out before he says, "I love you." And Rose hugs Jackie. And the doctor is back in the TARDIS. He looks up, and then the next thing you know, it was like a teaser because he sees a woman in a veil, like Havisham style. And he goes, "What?" And she goes, "What?" And he goes, "What?" And she goes, "Who are you?" And he goes, "What?" And she goes, "Where am I?" And then it ends with a teaser for like I think it's a special for the start of the next season. Pretty sure the doctor was crying too. Let me just double check him right here. You think there's a tear on his cheek? Rose, of course, she's missing the doctor a lot. Mickey and Pete don't know what to say. Jackie and Rose running and hugging. And now we're going to cut to the doctor here. Big hugs. Oh, yeah, the doctor is rubbing his hands in his face. I don't see a tear yet. And I'm still checking for any tears. He's walking around the TARDIS, doing a circle around the center console, looking it up and down, looking at the TARDIS, blue light on his face. Oh, yeah, no tears. So now he sees Havsham. And the episode comes to a close in the season. So we'll take a little break from Doctor Who here, but I'm sure we'll return for another season, down the road. Good night. Let's run through a couple of facts that came up in this episode. Sphere, which I think has come up before. Let's see. Let's see what Wikipedia says, or the dictionary on Wikipedia. Let's just see what some etymology is. From Middle English, sphere, Old French, sphere, Late Latin, sphera, spira. So something like a ball and a globe. Even in Persian, it's sepehr for sky. Mathematics, a regular three-dimensional object in which every cross-section is a circle, spherical object, a globe, or a ball, celestial bodies. And it's a little bit about it. Let's say mythology, area or activity of a planet. I guess area or activity of, expertise. Next one, though, let's look up Wikipedia about hair gel. Because hair gel had a place in my life. It definitely has a place in Jake's life. It's a hairstyling product used to harden hair into a particular thing. According to Wikipedia, analysis of ancient Egyptian mummies said they even styled their hair using a fat-based gel to ensure that the style stayed in place the whole time when they were in the earthly realm and not. Oldest is 3,500 years old. Also, in the Irish bog, they found people using hair gel from a pine tree resin, possibly from Spain or southwest France. In 1914, in Buenos Aires, a veterinary student created the first fixative for hair. They got a registered trademark. And it was Gomina. It was Gomina. It became synonymous with fixative. And this fixative it displaced soaps and oils used for the purchase. Then there was Brill Cream. It was in 1929 in Britain. 1960s, modern hair gel was invented in the United States by what would later be renamed the Depp Corporation. Whose inventor, Luis Montoya, designed its non-greasy consistency. Diethyl phthalate, that's a DEP. That's how they came up with the name. He came up with the name DEP. Many brands come with numbered variants, higher, have a greater hold. Some are for more spiky stuff. Some have cationic polymers. Those are the main functional components. Positive changes in the polymer cause them to stretch, making the more gel more viscous. Hair gels resist the natural protein conformations that allow hair to be styled and textured. Because the stretched out polymer takes up more space than a coiled polymer and resists the flow of solvent molecules around it. Doesn't do much for me because it just, like, even my hair, I would need like a ton of the strongest stuff. But I didn't realize the Depp was sold. Here's just the ingredients of a current Depp product. I wanted to look it up just to see what's in there. Just waiting for this thing to load. Let's see here. This one is like for sporty people. Depth Sport. It has water, PVP, sorbitol, carbomer, keratin, amino acids, sodium chloride, panthenol, propylene glycol, PEG40, hydrogenated castor oil, PPG5, Seltheth20, amino methylpropanol, disodium ETDA, benzophonine 4-DMDM, hydrotonin, methylparaben, fragrance, amyl cinnamomol, limonene, hydroxyisohexyl 3 dash cyclohexene, carbazaldehyde, hexylcinnamol, linalool, CL 42090, that's blue number 1, and CL 17200, that's red 33. And the directions are to apply damp or dry hair as desired, as style is desired. Okay, so I thought about this 13 square mile thing, and they found this cool website, bluebulbprojects.com. And it's called The Measure of Things, and you can create comparisons for measurements. So it's bluebulbproducts.com. I did 12 square miles. It's 4/5 as big as Rock Island, which is Arsenal Island. It's in Illinois on the Iowa border. I don't know it, but that's 15.14 square miles. It's It's a famous place. Fort Meade, that's 1.4. Oh, it's 1 2/5 the time. Fort Meade is 8.45 square miles. Caron Islands are 18 square miles. San Marino is 24 square miles. That's an enclave country in Italy. LAX Airport is 5.5 square miles. So that's cool. Let's see what's on page 2 here. Did we get more things? No. Maybe I hit the wrong button, though. Okay, yeah. Tokelau is, let's see, there's three coral atolls in New Zealand, 4.60 square miles. Mackinac Island in Lake Huron with a Victoria Grand Hotel is 4.36. Let's see, what else we got? Disney World is 39 square miles. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty big. The Hilton Head is 42 square miles. Gibraltar is 2.50 square miles. Trying to just find famous places. A lot of these ones are things I never heard of. Washington, D.C., 68 square miles. Carlsbad Caverns is 73 square miles. American Samoa is 76. Honolulu is 102. Central Park is 1.3 square miles. Philadelphia is 135 square miles. So that's just some of the things that are it's just a cool thing for you can look up other stuff on there. And there's some this is State Symbols USA. This has some square mileages of states. I just jumped to some of the smaller ones. Rhode Island is 1,034 square miles. So it's like almost Delaware's 1,955 square miles. Connecticut, 45 square miles. Let's just jump to bigger states. South Carolina, 30,111 miles. New York and Mississippi are both in the 46, 47. Same with North Carolina. Missouri, 68,898. Minnesota, 79,617. In the top 10, Oregon at 96,000, Wyoming at 97, Colorado 103 plus, Nevada 109 plus, Arizona 113 plus, New Mexico 121, Montana 145,000 square miles, California 155,973 square miles, Texas 261,914 square miles, and Alaska 576,641 square miles. So you could open up 100 things in Arizona, New Mexico, or Montana, I think. So that's a little bit about square miles. Elevators, kaput, and electromagnet. Let's see what we got with elevators. Elevator in U.S., Canada, Japan, or lift in UK is a vertical transportation device deliver people or goods between floors, levels, or decks. This is from Wikipedia. They can consist of are typically powered by electrical motors that drive traction cables or counterweight systems. Some use hydraulic fluid. In agriculture and manufacturing, it's a conveyor device used to lift the materials in a continuous stream into bins or silos. There are several types, including one that uses a screw conveyor that uses Archimedes screw or paddles of forks, hay elevators. Languages. Other languages may have loan words based on elevator or lift. Roman architect Vitruvius wrote that Archimedes built his first elevator in 236 BC. Then let's see what else. Let's see. The Book of Secrets by Al-Muradi in Islamic Spain used an elevator like lifting device. In the 17th century, there was prototypes used in the palace buildings of England and France. Elevators could be used to drive systems based on hoists or windlasses. And once industrialization came, then they really needed them to lift heavy stuff. So there's just a little bit of a link to that article there. There's also an article about kaput from Grammophobia. Is there a better expression than loanword to describe kaput? I'd say restaurant is certainly now an English word on loan from the French, but kaput seems to be in a different class, a German word in international use like schadenfreude. They say, that was a question. This is from June 2nd, 2017. Loanword means an English word adopted more or less intact from another language. We could also use adoption or borrowing. We don't know a better term than borrowing, adoption, or loanword for a word like kaput that hasn't lost its, even though it's in English, it's a German word. Though other linguists have suggested it possibly it could be popular loanwords and learned loanwords. Popular loanwords are orally transmitted. Learned ones are part of a living vocabulary. And they would say this one's probably just a popular loanword. And then there's a nice article about electromagnetism that we've used before, I think, from Wikipedia. And I'll just close off with the history of the theory of electromagnetism. The view changed. There used to be two separate forces, with James Clerk Maxwell's Treatise on Electricity and Magnetism were shown to be mediated by one force. There are four main effects resulting from these interactions, which are clearly demonstrated by experiments. One, electrical charges attract or repel one another with a force inversely proportional to the square distance between them. Unlike charges attract, like ones repel. Magnetic poles or states of polarizations at individual points attract or repel one another in a manner similar to positive and negative charges and always exist as pairs. Every north pole is yoked to a south pole. An electric current inside a wire creates a corresponding circumferential magnetic field outside the wire. Each direction, it depends on the direction of the current in the wire. A current is introduced in a loop of wire when it is moved toward or away from a magnetic field, or the magnet is moved towards or away from it. The direction of the current depends on the movement. So there's a little bit about that. We say goodnight to Doctor Who for a little while. And I say goodnight to you, but there'll be some thank yous. Thanks. All right, I want to thank DDLT28, who said, for reviewing the show on Apple Podcasts. They say, love it, works every time after it takes a few tries. So thank you. Chibi Silverwings, calming and comfortable. Thanks for helping me get a good night's sleep many times with empathy and kindness. I'm NB, and Friends Beyond the Binary makes me feel happy and acknowledged in a helpful way to help me settle down and feel safe really fast. So I'm glad the podcast and help you fall asleep and let you feel seen, because you are. 99% of the time works every time. That's from Laupip, who says, during the 1% of the time I'm not asleep before the intro ends, it's nice to know Scoots is with me in the deep dark night. Thanks for the comfort. K Blank says, you don't know how bad you need this guy. The podcast rocks. He'll put you to sleep if you're not listening and not getting distracted. And Snooky says, 431 from the UK says, I deal with OCD, and it can be really overwhelming at night when I have nothing to distract me. Used to listen to ASMR, but the videos were too bright. This show is perfect to have on in the background. So if my intrusive thoughts intrude, I can tune them out and into the stories. Thanks so much for the love, Scooter and company, for the gem of this gem of a podcast. And that's from Snooky431 from the UK. The gray-haired one is best from Canada. Says, funny guy, good A, double hockey stick sleep. Like lots of people like the show for different reasons. I think it's funny, and the tangents and the meandering and laid back is hilarious. And eventually I get fall asleep. So thanks everybody who reviewed the show over on Apple Podcasts. I really appreciate that. And let's check Castbox. Let's comments over here. Manny says, WTF Radish Commander. Emily does not like the podcast. Says, well, I don't normally leave mean comments, but let me run some by you here. So I guess they thought they were getting something else. Soren S. says, this podcast helps when I'm feeling existential. That's one of the good purposes for it. Thank you. Rachel says, thanks, boyfriend. Get to sleep. Says, give it a try. Chad asks about Mystery Bard lyrics, so you can find those at song.jonathanmann.net. Ian Peggy heard about the show on Rob Has Podcast and gives a shout out to the wonderful Rob, Steven, Josh Wigler, the whole crew that's over at robhaspodcast.com or robhasawebsite.com. And that's everything. I just want to thank everybody who took the time to support the show on Patreon and through our sponsors. Sleep With Me exists because of direct listener support. And the show grows because of people spreading the word about the show. So I really appreciate everybody just sharing their natural experience with the podcast with other people. I couldn't do it without you. Sleep With Me is a proud member of Night Vale Presents. There's a lot of amazing shows you can find at nightvalepresents.com, including one of my favorites, Dream Boy. And if you're good checking out the Night Vale tour, Dream Boy, Dane Terry is going to be opening for them for the rest of their tour. So you can listen to the podcast. You can see Dane perform and a live version of Night Vale Presents. You can find out all about all those things. Dream Boy podcast and everything about the Night Vale tour at nightvalepresents.com. We're also a proud member of PRX. You can see everything they're doing at prx.org. And that's it. There's plenty more episodes to go if you need them. Let me tuck you in there. Good night.